Most U.S. households entering 2026 are not dealing with a money problem. They are dealing with a structure problem. Income is coming in, bills are getting paid, yet financial pressure never fully disappears. This happens because most systems people follow were designed for a slower economy, predictable costs, and linear careers. That world no longer exists. What works now is not stricter discipline. What works is building a system that adjusts automatically as conditions change. The first shift that matters is abandoning estimated planning and replacing it with observed reality. Households that make real progress begin by watching their money instead of judging it. When 90 days of real transactions are reviewed without editing or rounding, spending patterns reveal themselves clearly. Small recurring charges that never felt important suddenly show their true weight. Income that felt stable shows variability. This process removes emotion and replaces it with evidence. Once evidence exists, decision-making becomes easier because it is no longer based on intention. What separates households that stabilize from those that stay stressed is how they treat available cash. Instead of thinking in categories, successful households think in layers. There is money required to keep life functioning. There is money that protects future income. Everything else is optional, even if it feels normal. This mental separation is powerful because it reframes spending without forcing deprivation. It allows households to decide where money actually matters instead of reacting to habits. In the current environment, the role of cash reserves has changed. Cash is no longer just a temporary parking place. It is a strategic buffer that buys flexibility. Job transitions take longer. Expenses spike faster. Unexpected costs arrive with less warning. Households that build meaningful reserves experience fewer forced decisions. They avoid pulling from long-term assets. They avoid expensive borrowing. They avoid panic. This is why reserve building has become one of the most effective stabilizers for households right now. The way successful households build reserves is intentionally boring. They do not wait for large deposits or perfect timing. They move small amounts consistently. Weekly movement outperforms monthly movement because it aligns with income rhythms and reduces resistance. Separating reserve money from everyday spending accounts also matters. When funds are not visually available, they are less likely to be spent impulsively. This is behavioral design, not willpower. Debt behavior that works today focuses on cash flow relief rather than theoretical optimization alone. Many households carry balances not because they ignore math, but because debt consumes flexibility. Removing a balance removes a payment. That payment then becomes usable cash. This is why visible progress matters. When one obligation disappears, momentum builds. The household experiences relief that reinforces the system. Households that succeed choose a single focus at a time. They do not spread extra money across multiple balances. They direct all available surplus toward one target while maintaining minimums elsewhere. When that balance reaches zero, the payment is reassigned immediately. This creates a rolling effect where each cleared obligation increases capacity for the next. The process is simple, repeatable, and emotionally sustainable. Spending control that works now does not rely on strict rules. It relies on friction. When friction is added to non-essential purchases, impulse decreases naturally. A short delay between desire and action removes urgency. Most purchases lose appeal when urgency fades. The few that remain tend to align better with actual priorities. This method preserves lifestyle satisfaction while reducing waste. Another major difference in households that perform well is how they approach income growth. Cutting expenses has limits. Income expansion does not, when approached correctly. What works is not chasing every opportunity, but selecting one area where existing skills can produce repeatable value. Households that add income tied to knowledge or experience see better results than those trading more hours for small returns. The goal is not exhaustion. The goal is leverage. Income added without purpose often disappears. Income added with a defined objective accelerates progress. When additional cash is assigned directly to reserve completion or balance elimination, results become visible quickly. This visibility sustains effort and prevents burnout. Tax efficiency has become a quiet advantage for organized households. Small adjustments in withholding after income changes or family changes improve monthly cash flow without increasing risk. Many households unintentionally give up flexibility by ignoring this area. Reviewing it periodically keeps the system aligned with reality. Long-term asset building that survives volatile periods follows one pattern: consistent contributions, broad exposure, periodic adjustment. Households that attempt to react to headlines introduce instability. Households that follow a disciplined process experience smoother outcomes. This approach is not exciting, but it is resilient. What truly distinguishes effective households is review. Not constant monitoring. Scheduled evaluation. When numbers are reviewed quarterly, small problems are corrected before they grow. Drift is detected early. Adjustments feel manageable. This rhythm keeps the system alive and responsive. What actually works for U.S. households right now is not motivation, restriction, or complexity. It is clarity, structure, and repeatable behavior. When systems are built correctly, progress happens even during uncertainty. That is the difference between hoping things improve and designing them to. Once a household understands how money actually behaves inside their life, the next challenge is turning that understanding into a system that does not depend on constant attention. Information alone does not change outcomes. Structure does. The goal at this stage is to design a flow where correct actions happen by default, even on weeks when energy and focus are low. The first adjustment is converting awareness into fixed movement. Money cannot remain theoretical. Every incoming dollar must be assigned a direction before it has a chance to drift. Essential expenses are handled first because stability depends on them. Immediately after that, a portion of income is redirected toward protection. This happens regardless of mood, confidence, or short-term comfort. The amount does not need to feel impressive. It needs to feel repeatable. Protection grows gradually through consistency rather than intensity. Smaller transfers occurring frequently build momentum without triggering resistance. Over time, these movements become routine and stop feeling like sacrifices. The reserve exists to absorb disruption, not to produce returns or excitement. When disruption arrives, and it always does, this buffer prevents forced decisions that undo months of progress. With protection active, progress elsewhere becomes reliable. Debt reduction moves from fragile to durable. Instead of reacting to balances emotionally, households commit to a single focus and maintain it until completion. Extra cash is not scattered. It is concentrated. Each cleared balance removes a monthly obligation and increases flexibility. That flexibility becomes visible, which reinforces the process without external motivation. As obligations disappear, freed cash must be redirected intentionally. Without reassignment, it dissolves into spending without leaving a trace. Immediate redirection preserves momentum. The system continues forward without pause. Progress does not require constant excitement. It requires continuity. Spending behavior adapts naturally when pressure is removed. When survival and protection are handled first, discretionary decisions become calmer. Instead of strict rules, a pause is introduced between desire and action. This pause removes urgency and reveals priorities. Most impulses fade. The few that remain are usually aligned with genuine value. Over time, spending patterns shift without force. Additional income fits into the system only when it serves a defined purpose. Random income increases tend to vanish. Income tied to specific objectives accelerates change. Households identify one area where existing experience can be exchanged for value without draining energy. The focus stays narrow to prevent dilution. Consistency matters more than novelty. New income is assigned immediately upon arrival. It does not wait for future planning. It flows directly toward reserve completion or balance elimination. This clarity prevents lifestyle inflation and shortens timelines. Once goals are reached, reassignment decisions are made deliberately instead of automatically. Control is preserved. Periodic alignment with tax realities supports smooth execution. When income or household structure changes, withholding adjustments prevent unnecessary strain later. This step does not feel dramatic, but it stabilizes cash flow quietly. Stability reduces friction everywhere else. Long-term asset building enters the picture only after the foundation is secure. Contributions are set up to occur without manual intervention. Exposure remains broad to reduce dependency on any single outcome. Adjustments happen on schedule rather than in response to noise. This keeps participation steady across different conditions. Review is the final piece that keeps the system alive. Review is not constant monitoring or obsession. It is a scheduled check-in with reality. Every few months, numbers are examined without emotion. Cash flow is compared to expectations. Reserve progress is confirmed. Remaining obligations are evaluated. Income shifts are acknowledged. Small corrections are made early while they are easy. This rhythm prevents drift. It also prevents overreaction. When households know they will review regularly, they stop making impulsive changes. Confidence grows because the system proves itself repeatedly. What makes this execution model effective is not complexity. It is alignment. Each component supports the next. Protection enables progress. Progress creates flexibility. Flexibility reduces stress. Reduced stress improves decision quality. The loop reinforces itself. Households that adopt this approach stop chasing solutions and start operating a system. The system does not require perfect discipline or ideal conditions. It adapts. It absorbs pressure. It continues working quietly in the background.